how we grow up understanding adolescence is another part of my writing life, but it's the chief part of my writing life. It's narrative nonfiction. By day, I'm a 25-year veteran New York Times reporter. And as part of that job 4 years ago, I started looking into the adolescent mental health crisis. I was asked by the Times to figure out what the heck's going on. And I spent nearly 2 years looking at rising rates of depression and anxiety, suicidal ideation, and discovered a very, very complicated topic, one that goes beyond and sort of belies the common narrative that cell phones are driving everyone insane. And so I decided to take on a book that moved past the phone to the people holding the phone, the adolescents. Who are these people? What is their nature? And again, in keeping with the style that's very comfortable for me, and I hope nice for readers, I married stories of adolescence, very intimate stories, with the latest science to try to explain why we really have a new framing for adolescence, one that is far less dark, I think, than prior versions. And that's how we grow up understanding adolescence. Speaking, writing, and reading, this stuff can be boring. The job of a good writer, I'm not suggesting I am one, but is to make this stuff really accessible. That's why these stories get mixed in this book, stories of Henry and Darren and Thomas and Lindsay, who help us illustrate. But the social brain is a brain that has become highly sensitized after puberty to the world around us, not just the world inside our home. And I'm going to say something here, Jake, that sounds like nonsense because it is. The word is Puideschwalt. And if you guys can't see Jake, can you see Jake? Can they see you?
We're recording. We're not live, so
We're not live, but they can see your face when we're recording. He looks mystified, fairly so. Puideschwalt is a nonsense word that Stanford researchers came up with, and they played the word back to young children and adolescents whose brains were being imaged in real time. And the word was spoken by two people. One was the kiddo's mother, and one was a complete stranger who was a woman. And after, do you want to guess what happened after puberty to where their attention went? They start out, the reward centers of the brain when kids are younger light up around mom's voice. But after puberty, around the social brain, they begin to light up around the stranger, almost at the expense of the mother's voice. And the reason for that is that part of adolescence, Jake, is making the transition from being cared for to caring for yourself. And biology and evolutionary biology is hugely informing and causing that to happen. So, just for parents, when they see a kid ignoring, when we see our kids ignoring us, our teenagers ignoring us, there's some biological programming involved in that so that they can use the resources to explore an outside world that they are going to have to succeed in. It's why peers are so important. And just to put a fine point on this, peers are even more important because they are like your coworkers in the new corporate structure you're moving into. They are mid management, management, your peers, the whole kit and caboodle. And you've just moved away from this environment you knew pretty well that you're shedding. What I'm about to say next is really vital for listeners. Before we start maligning this generation and its challenges, it is critical to understand that when we grew up, binge drinking was soaring. Drunk driving, injury, and death was soaring. Early experimentation with sex was way higher. Cigarette use was way higher, and overall drug use was way higher. So it's very tempting with each generation, and I can explain why some of this, the psychology of this is to say this generation's really messed up. But some really good things have happened from a public health standpoint. I just want to anchor everybody in that idea because the reason I call this book How We Grow Up is it's going to be, it involves, growing up involves for us as parents and for adolescents a different kind of reckoning with what this period represents. So I'll put a pin in that and come to social media. Social media is the boogeyman right now for young people. The science is conflicting. Some young people who use social media are put in a better mood by virtue of having done so. Some people are put in a worse mood. I think the thing that we can say that is troubling on its face is that when you are doing anything like staring at a screen for 10 hours a day, you are displacing really important activities valuable for your neurological development. Foremost is sleep. You must sleep. And when that phone is interrupting you or in your room, it is interfering with your ability of your brain to develop and in turn your physiology. Exercise and outdoor activity are vital. In-person interaction is vital because it's how we learn to read people's faces. The way I would sum this up is you've got to make sure as a parent that your adolescent is doing enough of the good stuff. But it doesn't mean social media is bad any more than video games didn't destroy us. We are productive humans. I think what's predicate to this is that is what adolescence actually is, and we haven't gotten to it. And with your permission, I'd like to venture a new framework.
Please.
It's my new framework drum roll. So, for the longest time, we thought adolescents were Neanderthals. We thought they were conflicted about sex. Maybe they were attracted to their moms, all this crazy stuff. But this is what adolescence is. Adolescence is a highly sensitized brain trying to reconcile and integrate the known and the unknown. The known is what your parents tell you. Jake, use this fork. Don't run across the street. Don't drink and drive. Never miss class. Get straight A's. The unknown is what actually works in a changing world. And given the fragility and delicacy of life, there's no way you can just take your parents' word for it. And the brain is actually biologically programmed through evolution to probe and test whether the things that are conventional wisdom still apply or ever applied in the first place.